Hi everyone, I'm going to talk to you about how to evaluate a source from the web. And so there's a couple different ways that you can do that. So let's get started. One of the ways is what's called the CRAAP test, and what I'll primarily focus on during this module. So it's an acronym, and it stands for Currency, Relevance, Authority, Accuracy, and Purpose. So I'm going to break down each one for you. All right, so here's a little bit of a warning. If you do have access to the databases, which you do, which we talk about as our first learning of this module, start there. And if you don't need to scrutinize what's called the CRAAP test for cars. You should be able to find really good quality sources there. But we all know that's not always possible to go that route. All right, so the first part is currency. Currency has to do with the timeliness of information. Is it within the last 5 years? Does it have a date? Was it updated? Was it reviewed? Is that time that they provide appropriate for your topic and appropriate for maybe your content area? So maybe it's something that's older and doesn't really change. It doesn't really matter. Or it's something that's very timely and you need a very specific time frame, like maybe a couple years. But 5 years is usually what most people encourage. All right, so this was taken from a presentation that I have done before with seniors. I was showing them an article, and on here, obviously, you look for the date. So when was information published or posted? You can see there it fits within there. And usually that date can be found at the top or the bottom of the page very easily. And if you can't find a date, that should be a red flag that maybe you need to stop and move on to another article. Not always, but it should be a concern. The next part is relevance. Does this information relate to your topic? So go back to your research question and figure out if it relates. So how do you tell, or for yourself or for students, you have to skim or read part of the source. So look at it and look at the headings, look at the subheadings, read the article, or have your kids read part of it and see if it relates and if it's something they could potentially use. And then obviously compare that to and go back to your research question or whatever you're trying to figure out. So again, what is, like I just kind of said before, what exactly is your research question and does it answer it? So here's just kind of a hypothetical one I put on and I used again with my seniors, and it's a problem solution. And it's talking about dog breeds. So this is just kind of a specific one that I was looking at, and I took that article. I'll let you guys have a moment to kind of look over it. Okay, authority has to do with, is your source, the source's author, or our article, are they qualified to speak on that topic? Are they an expert in that field? Even though they have a doctor in front of their name, are they actually an expert in that particular topic that you're talking about? So they should have that information readily available. And if they don't, that should also be a big concern. And where can you find that information? Often it's at the top or the bottom of the page. Another place you might want to look is where it says about or about us. You often will find a lot of information about the author. You'll find out who they are and why they're qualified. And usually, if they're credible, they'll offer that information up very easily. So a question you might want to ask students, you may want to ask your students who would have the authority to talk about your research question. So for that one I did about dog breeds, the question I asked is, who would have the authority to write about dog breeds and laws related to dog breeds? And the answer was doctors, scientists, dog trainers, public health officials. Accuracy, pretty obvious. You should be able to find that information on multiple sources. That's kind of why we ask students, as well as we've been asked when we do research assignments in college and grad school, to have multiple sources. So where did it come from? Is there a biased tone? Is there a ton of misspellings and errors? That kind of